morning, children. Good morning, children. How are you all? I hope you all are fine. In previous video, I have given the question answers of Geography chapter 10. I hope you all have completed. And in this video, I am going to start History chapter 3, the Delhi Sultanate. So, in Muslim rule in India was established by Muhammad Ghori. Okay, so Muslim also ruled in our country, not in a short period of time. They ruled more than 300 years. They ruled more than 300 years, as here is given the timeline from 1206 to 1526 CE. The Muslim ruled in Delhi from 1206 to 1526 CE. So more than 300 years they ruled in Delhi. And this Muslim rule was established by Muhammad Ghori in 12th century CE. Who established this Muslim rule in India? Muslim rule in India was established by Muhammad Ghori in 12th century CE. Muhammad Ghori helped by his general. General means chief of commander. So Muhammad Ghori was helped by his general Qutbuddin Aibak. Who helped Muhammad Ghori? Qutbuddin Aibak helped to Muhammad Ghori. And the Ghori appointed, Muhammad Ghori was appointed Aibak as a viceroy of his Indian conquest. Okay, so Qutbuddin Aibak appointed as a viceroy of the Indian conquest. When Muhammad Ghori died in 1206 CE. Muhammad Ghori died in 1206 CE. So he did not leave any descendant. Any descendant means the person who belonged to his family. So after his death, not a single person was there who belonged to his family. So he did not leave any descendant. And his viceroy, who was his viceroy? His viceroy was Muhammad Ghori. So his viceroy declared themselves independent rulers of the region. And Qutbuddin Aibak claimed the Indian territories, and Qutbuddin Aibak became ruler of Indian territories. That day, Qutbuddin Aibak ruled Punjab, Sindh, Indo-Gangetic Plains, and the present day Bihar and Bengal. And he established his capital at Delhi. So in these provinces, he ruled Punjab, Sindh, Indo-Gangetic Plains, the present day Bihar and Bengal, and he established his capital at Delhi. With the accession of Qutbuddin Aibak to the throne of Delhi begins the history of Delhi Sultanate in India. As Qutbuddin Aibak became the ruler of Delhi, from then the Delhi Sultanate started in the Indian history. After the accession of Qutbuddin Aibak to the throne of Delhi begins the history of Delhi Sultanate in India. As the Qutbuddin Aibak became the ruler of Delhi, so Delhi Sultanate, the period of Delhi Sultanate begins in Indian history, and it lasted for more than 300 years. 300 years means more than 300 years the Muslim ruled in our India from 1206 to 1526 CE, and the rulers during this period, they called themselves sultans. Okay, so because these Muslim rulers, they ruled in Delhi and they themselves called sultans. Hence their rule is known as the Delhi Sultanate, and 5 successive dynasties ruled over northern India. All these 5 dynasties belong to Muslims, but the dynasties were different. So these 5 dynasties were, first one is the slave dynasty. Slave dynasty ruled from 1206 to 1290 CE. The Khaljis ruled from 1290 to 1320 CE. Third, the Tughlaqs, they ruled 1320 to 1399 CE. And the Sayyids, they ruled 1414 to 1451 CE. And the last one is the Lodhis, they ruled 1451 to 1526 CE. So these were the 5 dynasties. The 5 main dynasties were the slave dynasty, the Khalji dynasty, the Tughlaq dynasty, the Sayyid dynasty, and the Lodhi dynasties. Now first one is the slave dynasty. The Turkish ruler depend heavily on the, why this dynasty called the name slave dynasty? Because the Turkish rulers totally they depend on especially some of the chosen slave. They were dependent on the chosen slaves who were trained to excel in both military as well as intellectual sphere. So the Turkish ruler totally they were dependent of some chosen slaves. Slave means who work under some people. These slaves were trained in both sides, as well as the military and as well as the intellectual sphere. Intellectual means the who can talk or who can communicate well. So these slaves often rose up the politically and military later to become ruler of their land. And this dynasty established by Qutbuddin Aibak was therefore also known as slave dynasty, because Qutbuddin Aibak was a slave. And the ruler as the Mamluk Sultan of Delhi. Mamluk means slave. Okay, so here what is the meaning of slave? Slave means Mamluk. Now Qutbuddin Aibak, the first ruler of slave dynasty was Qutbuddin Aibak. Qutbuddin Aibak was originally a slave and he was a native of Turkestan. Turkestan is the name of country, and native means the person who belong. For example, we are the native of India, and he rose to become the trusted general of Muhammad Ghori, and he was the trusted means very loyal person of Muhammad Ghori, and Aibak was the prime force behind Ghori's victories in the second battle of Tehran, and he captured Kannauj, Bihar and Bengal on the Ghori. After the death of Muhammad Ghori, Qutbuddin Aibak declared himself as the ruler of Delhi, and he became the first Sultan of Delhi. Qutbuddin conquered Ajmer, Jhansi, Delhi and Meerut, and he used to marriage to strengthen, means to increase his strength and power. He used to marriage. He married himself to the daughter of Yildiz, and Yildiz was a governor of Kerman, and Kerman is in Iran, and he had a sister. His sister married to Quabcha, and Quabcha was the governor of Sindh, and he had a daughter, and his daughter married to Iltutmish. Iltutmish was succeeded to the throne of Delhi Sultanate. So Qutbuddin Aibak used to marriage to increase his strength and power. And Qutbuddin Aibak was also a great lover of art and literature, and his generosity earned him a title of Lakhbaksh. Lakhbaksh means giver of lakhs. And he built two mosques, Quwat-ul-Islam Mosque in Delhi and Dhai Din Ka Jhopda, it is in Ajmer, and he started the work on Qutub Minar. But who started Qutub Minar? Qutbuddin Aibak. But he did not complete, and he died after an accidental fall while playing polo, because he was a great lover to play the polo. So while playing polo, he died in 1210 CE. Now, next one is the Iltutmish. A farmer slave and later son-in-law of Aibak, Iltutmish, after the death of Qutbuddin Aibak, his daughter husband, he took over the throne of the Delhi. And Iltutmish also faced so many challenges, and he had to first crush to the revolt of the nobles. So he defeated Yaldos and occupied Lahore and Punjab, and he attacked and defeated Quabcha also. Quabcha was the governor of Sindh, and he then subdued it to Rajput, chief of Ranthambore, Ajmer and Gwalior. While he was trying to consolidate his empire, the Mongols under the leadership of Genghis Khan had begun to appear on the border of India, and the Mongols were warrior tribes from Central Asia. And Iltutmish built a line of fort along the river Ravi to prevent to entry the Mongol into the India. And the several scholars and artists entered in India, fleeing from outslaught of the Mongols, and they received protection of Iltutmish. Now you see the map. This dark color map. It is you see here is already clear. This is the present. This is the external boundary of India before partition of our country. And you see this dark color. This dark color is totally the empire of Muslims. Next one, ruler of the slave dynasty was Razia Sultana. On his death, from natural causes, the Iltutmish was briefly succeeded by his son, and he proved that to be an effective ruler. But within 7 months, the throne went into Iltutmish's daughter. 7 महीने के बाद वो राजगद्दी किसके पास चली गई? इल्तुतमिश की डॉटर के पास. And her name was Razia. And Razia was, according to the historian Siraj, and Razia was the first and the last woman to sit on the throne of Delhi. Razia was the first and last woman who sat on the throne of Delhi. Because Razia was a woman, so she had to face many challenges. The most challenges that she was a woman in a man's world. The men's easily not accepted her as a ruler. And she also faced the opposition from the group of 40. Group of 40 means most of the people, who were the nobles and the military leaders who control the politics of Delhi. They were also opposed of Razia Sultana. So this is the second challenge. First challenge, then she was a woman in the men's world, and she faced the opposition from the group of 40. Some people, they were opposed, and Turkish nobles and the military leaders also were opposed of her. And the special liking she had to Yakut and Abyssinian, for example, that is from present day Ethiopia, and she was a slave, also caused resentment among the nobles. Because of this, she refused the refusal of all the nobles to accept a woman, because they were not easily accepted as her ruler. So finally led her downfall. Finally she left the empire. And Razia's reign was followed by the period of instability. Okay, after Razias, his younger brother Nasruddin was put on the throne, but the real power lays in the hand of his guardian Ghiyasuddin Balban. For after 20 years, he managed the empire of behalf of the Nasruddin, and he died in 1266 CE, and Balban declared himself Sultan of Delhi. Next is the Ghiyasuddin Balban. Balban was a stern is very hard person who believed in ruling with iron and blood, and he effectively protected the empire from the attack from the Mongols. And in 1241 CE, the Mongols attacked on Lahore. Balban held the Mongols away with a clever mix of the force, okay, and diplomacy. He built a chain of fortress whose strength, उसने बहुत बड़ी chain बनाई, and strength to the northwest frontier. And in 1260 CE, Balban also entertained an envoy from Hooghly, and he was the grandson of Genghis Khan. And Balban died in 1287 CE, and he was succeeded by his grandson. After his death, the kingdom slowly weakened, leading to the collapse of the slaves. After his death, the kingdom was slowly leading to the collapse of the slave dynasty, and very soon this slave dynasty came to power in Delhi, the Khaljis. And here the slave dynasty is collapsed, and the new dynasty came to the power in Delhi, and that is the Khaljis. Okay, and after this slave dynasty, the Khaljis dynasty and other dynasty I will explain in the next video. Thank you. Have a nice day.